trillion bill. If you take climate change into consideration, that's the kind of money that we need. We've already made a significant compromise.
But would you consider a number less than $3.5 trillion?
No, right. Look, we're talking about numbers. You tell me what we should cut. Tell the working families of this country that we don't need to make child care affordable.
Incredibly important. It will create good paying jobs, and it's an important part of an economy. But I wasn't elected just to represent one industry or just to elect one kind of worker. I was elected to create a strong and stable and globally competitive economy. And to do that, for example, we have to see women be able to re-enter the workforce. We have to address the crisis in elder care. We have to make sure that workers are healthy and able to go to their workplaces. And so I think this idea that, it's infrastructure and nothing else would be okay, if that's really what Senator Sinema and Senator Manchin believe, they owe it to the American people to say that.
Let's listen to what Senator Bernie Sanders said about the situation.
What you got now are 48 out of 50 members.
Jen, the president has been trying to get OPEC to increase supply in the past. Oil prices have been north of $80 a barrel.
Yeah.
Are there any steps that he's looking at, new steps, to try to deal with some of these energy issues?
Well, first, the president is very focused on this. He has asked his team about it. There are a number of people, senior members of the White House team from the NSC, from the NEC, working on this issue every single day. I would say that part is a supply issue, which is why you asked me about OPEC. It's something we continue to press them on. But part is also a logistics issue of being able to move supply around the country. And that's something that we're also looking into options on. I know you didn't ask me about this, but I'm just going to also convey, because sometimes they're combined, the gas issue as well as the natural gas issue, which is something that we've seen, people in the Northeast have understandable concerns about what that may look like for them. And I would just note, and we haven't talked about this a lot, so I want to raise it, that LIHEAP funding, coverage of LIHEAP funding, is in the American Rescue Plan. And that is something that we have been communicating with a number of states and leaders about, and their ability to access that funding, which is the low-income heating program I think many of you are familiar with, to help prepare for any increase in costs. But we're working on both the supply issue and the logistics issue and looking at a range of options.
Now folks, Social Security recipients could see a huge increase in monthly benefits very soon. And this is wonderful news for all SSI beneficiaries. So if you want to stay up to date on the latest news about the fourth stimulus check and Social Security benefits, then be sure to stay until the end of this video. Now folks, the Social Security COLA for 2022 could be the biggest in decades. However, that increase to monthly checks will not be enough. The Senior Citizens League sent a letter to members of both the House of Representatives and Senate this week. The group is ramping up its calls for new $1,400 stimulus checks to be sent out once to Social Security beneficiaries. The letter, signed by Richard Delaney, chairman of the Senior Citizens League, said that we believe that a special stimulus for Social Security recipients could help defray the higher costs that some would face if next year's COLA bumps them into a higher tax bracket, causing higher tax rates on their income and surcharges to the Medicare Part B premiums. So folks, next year's Social Security COLA is projected to be at least 6%, driven by rising consumer prices. That would be well above the 1.3% increase that beneficiaries saw in their monthly checks this year. Yet that more generous increase may not be sufficient to help recipients, some of whom have had to cut back on their spending or food and even seek aid from food pantries or SNAP benefits. Along with the one-time payments, the group is advocating for changes to the method by which the annual COLA is calculated. The Social Security Administration currently uses the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers to determine those changes, also known as the CPIW. It tracks spending by those who earn hourly wages. However, a different measure, the Consumer Price Index for elderly, or the CPIE, would more accurately reflect the cost that seniors face. The Senior Citizens League is also calling for legislation to ensure that Social Security could continue to pay benefits for the next 75 years. The Social Security Trustees' annual report recently showed that the combined trust funds that were used to pay retirement and disability benefits will be depleted by 2034, at which point only 78% of promised benefits will be payable. Plans by President Biden during his election campaign and by certain members of Congress include similar goals. The Senior Citizens League campaigns for fourth stimulus checks for seniors that began in September and includes an online petition So everybody, a fourth stimulus check would definitely add billions to the price tag of the currently $3.5 trillion budget reconciliation bill the Democrats plan to use to push the sweeping proposals through Congress. And despite overwhelming support in the party for the measures in the future bill, the overall cost has some members calling for a reduction in its size, specifically Senators Joe Manchin and Sinema, both of whom would be needed to get the spending package through the Senate on a party line vote. Through the extending the changes to the child tax credit for the 2021 fiscal year to 2025, families would continue to receive the advanced monthly payments on the enhanced tax provision, which are currently up to $300 per child under 6 and $250 for each kid 6 to 17. In a report in August, it calculated that over 12 months of the child tax credit could pump $27 billion into local economies across the country. Although more populous states would get more funds in general, the credit would have a greater impact in rural communities, which would benefit from higher purchasing power of the cash injections relative to urban areas. Joe Manchin has demanded that his Democratic colleagues prioritize which of the measures to help working families that they want in the final bill in order to get his essential vote. He wants them to choose between the child tax credit, paid family medical leave, or subsidies for childcare, unless Manchin can persuade to change his mind. It's one of a number of priorities that Democrats are seeking to include in their economic package. I have some good news to tell you about your fourth stimulus check, so you want to be sure to stay until the end of the video. And also, this Friday I will be announcing one winner of a free $100 Amazon gift card. So if you would like to enter to win, all you have to do is subscribe to my channel, share this video with your friends and family, and stay until the end of this video. Folks, I want to do my part in giving back to my community, and I believe that a free $100 Amazon gift card can help many of you folks out.
Overwhelming majority of the people in the Democratic caucus. Look, we worked with Senator Manchin to pass the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan, which was enormously consequential and helpful to working class families in getting us out of the economic disaster.
Democratic Representative Ilhan Omar and other Democrats took the latest leap forward in pushing for ongoing stimulus checks to the struggling Americans. Representative Omar proposed the Support Act and the GPI Act. These new stimulus bills, folks, would guarantee us a guaranteed income of up to $1,200 a month and $600 for children a month.
So it's a tough day for him and everybody who lost somebody. And you know, I know you've heard me say it before, and I'll probably get criticized for saying it again. But these memorials are really important, but they're also incredibly difficult for the people who are affected by them, because it brings back the moment you got the phone call.
Now, if the Support Act was approved, the entire program is going to be worth about $2.5 billion, lasting from 2023 to 2027. Under the proposed bill,